What if the smallest decision you make today could alter the entire course of your life tomorrow? Intrigued? Stick around, and I'll show you how the butterfly effect works. Introduction to the butterfly effect. Imagine standing at the edge of a calm lake, looking out over the still water. You reach down and gently throw a small stone into the lake. For a moment, everything is still, but then the water begins to ripple. Those ripples expand outward, growing larger and larger, reaching places you can't see. What started as a tiny, almost insignificant action has now spread and transformed the entire surface of the lake. Now, think about life itself. What if the smallest decisions you make today could cause waves that reach far beyond what you could ever predict? What if the choices you make in this very moment are shaping the course of your life, even though they seem trivial at first? This is the essence of what's known as the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is a concept that was introduced by the American mathematician Edward Lorenz in the 1960s. He was studying weather patterns when he realized something remarkable. Even the tiniest change in the starting conditions of a system could lead to vastly different outcomes. Lorenz famously said, "The flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil could set off a tornado in Texas." It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it? How could something as delicate as the wings of a butterfly cause such an intense storm on the other side of the world? But when we look at the world through the lens of chaos theory, we begin to understand how this could be true. The butterfly effect is a perfect example of how small actions, seemingly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, can accumulate and create profound consequences in ways we cannot predict. The butterfly effect is a perfect example of how small actions, seemingly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, can accumulate and create profound consequences in ways we cannot predict. At first glance, it's hard to fathom how something so small could have such a large impact. But when you apply this to life, you begin to see how small changes and decisions ripple outwards, shaping not just your day, but the world around you. Imagine you're walking down the street one morning, and you decide to take a different route to work. It could be because you're in a rush or simply feeling a bit adventurous. Along the way, you bump into someone you haven't seen in years. You stop and talk, and during that conversation, something they say sparks an idea that changes the way you think about life. That small interaction leads you to a new opportunity, a new job, or a shift in your perspective that completely alters the course of your future. Life is full of these moments. In fact, it's often the smallest decisions, what to wear, what to say, which path to take, that create the biggest impacts. We may not realize it at the time, but those moments accumulate, leading us down paths we never could have predicted. The small things we do every day, where we go, who we meet, what we choose to focus on, can create chains of events that shape our futures in profound ways. And it's not just about us. Small actions ripple outward and influence those around us. The butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could, in theory, create a storm in Texas. But it could also inspire a person in New York to start a project that ultimately helps thousands of people. Every choice, no matter how small, has the potential to create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond what we can see. The butterfly effect teaches us a valuable lesson. Even the smallest change can lead to the most unexpected results. We may never fully understand how or why these changes happen, but we can begin to appreciate the immense power of small actions. These little moments, when viewed in hindsight, may seem like fate, but in reality, they're often the result of tiny decisions made without much thought. So next time you make a choice, whether it's something as simple as taking a different road home, striking up a conversation with someone new, or making a small change to your daily routine, remember that this is the butterfly effect in action. That small decision might just be the start of something much bigger. If you've ever had a small decision lead to something big, leave a like on this video to show that you understand the power of these tiny moments. The science behind the butterfly effect. Now that we have an idea of what the butterfly effect is, let's dive into the science behind it. Understanding the science of the butterfly effect requires us to explore the concept of chaos theory, which was the foundation of Edward Lorenz's groundbreaking work. Chaos theory, simply put, is the study of systems that appear to be random or unpredictable, but are actually governed by deterministic laws. This means that while the outcomes may seem chaotic, they are the result of specific conditions and initial variables, even if those variables are minuscule. Lorenz discovered this when he was studying weather patterns. What he found was that tiny differences in initial conditions could lead to drastically different results. This discovery shattered the conventional belief that weather patterns were completely predictable. Lorenz quotes famous experiment involved running a weather simulation on his computer. While working with a set of data, he decided to round a number from 0.506127 to 0.506. This small change, a mere 0.000127 difference, completely altered the outcome of the simulation. This tiny adjustment in the starting conditions led to a completely different weather pattern, showing just how sensitive chaotic systems are to initial conditions. What Lorenz discovered was that in a chaotic system, tiny variations in the starting state can lead to outcomes that are vastly different, even if those variations are almost imperceptible. This concept of sensitivity to initial conditions is what makes systems chaotic. And it's also what makes the butterfly effect so powerful. The reason why the butterfly effect is so profound lies in this sensitivity. When you think about it, even the smallest events can have enormous consequences over time. A slight shift in the initial conditions of a system, whether it's the weather, a relationship, or even the economy, can create a chain reaction of events that leads to something far more significant. Take, for example, the weather. The atmosphere is a complex, interconnected system with millions of variables at play. A small shift in one part of the system, like a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, could influence the movement of air masses and pressure systems across the world. This chain of events, although invisible and subtle, could eventually lead to a storm or a change in weather patterns thousands of miles away. But the butterfly effect isn't confined to just the weather. It's a concept that applies to many different areas of life. In economics, for instance, small changes in one country's financial system can create ripples that affect global markets. In technology, a tiny innovation can spark a revolution, leading to advancements that change the world. In our personal lives, a single decision, a word spoken, an action taken, can set off a chain of events that shapes our future in ways we can't predict. Another example that helps explain the butterfly effect is the concept of feedback loops. Feedback loops occur when a small change in a system causes a reaction that amplifies or diminishes that change. In a chaotic system, feedback loops can escalate minor fluctuations into major shifts. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it's small, but as it moves it gathers more snow, growing larger and more powerful. This is what happens in chaotic systems. Tiny, seemingly insignificant changes can accumulate and transform into huge consequences over time. What's fascinating about chaotic systems and the butterfly effect is that while we can't predict the exact outcome, we can understand that the potential for great change is always there. The butterfly effect isn't just a scientific curiosity. It's a reminder that the world is far more interconnected and sensitive to change than we often realize. Every decision, every action, no matter how small, has the potential to ripple out and create bigger consequences. This idea may seem unsettling at first, because it challenges the notion of control. In many ways, it suggests that the future is not as predictable as we once believed. But it also offers a sense of wonder. If tiny actions can lead to significant change, then each moment holds the potential for some. But it also offers a sense of wonder. If tiny actions can lead to significant change, then each moment holds the potential for something extraordinary. The next time you think a small decision or action doesn't matter, remember the science behind the butterfly effect. The reality is, those seemingly minor actions could be setting off a chain of events that transforms your world. If you find this idea fascinating and want to dive deeper into the science of chaos, don't forget to leave a comment or like this video to show your interests. Small decisions in everyday life. We often don't realize just how many small decisions we make every single day. From the moment we wake up, we are faced with a countless number of choices. What time to get out of bed, what to have for breakfast, which route to take to work, or even what to wear. These seem like little things, don't they? In fact, many of us might go through an entire day without giving much thought to how these decisions might influence the trajectory of our lives. But here's the thing. When you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, these seemingly insignificant choices can be the very things that shape our futures in ways we never could have anticipated. This is where the butterfly effect takes center stage. Let's say you decide to take a different route to work one morning because you're feeling adventurous, or maybe you're just tired of the usual path. It's a small change, right? Nothing too special. But this small shift in your routine can lead to unexpected outcomes. Maybe you stop at a coffee shop you've never visited before. Maybe you bump into an old friend who is now working at the same office as you, leading to a career change. Or perhaps you run into someone who shares a connection with someone you've been trying to meet for years. You might never realize it, but a seemingly insignificant moment could alter the course of your day, your week, or even your entire life. The butterfly effect shows us how these small, everyday decisions create a ripple effect in our lives that can lead to drastic changes over time. Think about this. Have you ever experienced a moment when you chose to say something that changed the entire direction of a conversation, or decided to remain quiet when you usually would have spoken up? Something as simple as a few words can impact the way you're perceived, affect relationships, or something as simple as a few words can impact the way you're perceived, affect relationships, or even open doors to new opportunities. Let's say you decide to compliment someone at work who you've never spoken to before. That compliment leads to a friendly conversation, which turns into a lasting connection. A small exchange like this can open the door for collaboration or future opportunities that would have never occurred if you hadn't made the decision to say something as small as, "I like your shoes." Another example could be your daily habits. How you start your day can have a ripple effect on the rest of your life. Imagine you decide to wake up 15 minutes earlier tomorrow, just to sit quietly and gather your thoughts before starting the day. In that small window of time, you may come up with an idea for a project or reflect on something that had been bothering you for days. Those few minutes of quiet reflection could help you make better decisions for the rest of the day. And over time, these small moments of mindfulness can dramatically improve your mental clarity, relationships, and even career choices. The butterfly effect is not just about huge, life-altering decisions, but about those tiny moments in our lives that seem inconsequential but have the potential to change everything. For example, perhaps one day you're deciding between reading a book or scrolling through social media. That one choice, whether you decide to spend the next 30 minutes immersing yourself in a book or mindlessly scrolling, could have a lasting effect on your day. Maybe that book is the one that inspires you to take up a new hobby, or it teaches you something that helps you make an important decision down the line. In contrast, hours of social media might leave you feeling disconnected or unproductive. In this case, a small decision could shape how you feel for the rest of the day, and by extension, your emotional and mental state over time. What about your interactions with other people? Even the smallest choice in a conversation can lead to something much bigger. Think about how often we interact with strangers in passing, with a simple hello or a smile. It might seem like a harmless moment, But sometimes these fleeting encounters lead to meaningful conversations or connections. A random chat with a neighbor could lead to a business partnership, or a casual comment at a coffee shop might spark a friendship that changes your life in unexpected ways. These small moments are powerful because they have the potential to set off a chain reaction that we can't always predict. Now, let's think about decisions that we consciously make, such as choosing to adopt a new habit. Maybe you decide to start exercising regularly or begin practicing gratitude every morning. Over time, these small actions can completely change how you feel and behave. Consistent decisions like these can lead to improvements in your physical health, emotional well-being, and overall happiness. And because of the butterfly effect, the compounded results of your small decisions could ultimately lead to life-changing transformations that you never saw coming. It's fascinating, really, how the most routine choices in our daily lives, like the route we take to work or the book we decide to pick up, could alter the course of our lives. The beauty of this is that we all have the power to make small decisions each day that could lead to extraordinary results. The butterfly effect is a reminder that even the tiniest actions can cause ripples that extend far beyond what we can predict. So, as you go about your day today, take a moment to reflect on the decisions you're making. They might seem small, but each one has the potential to create a shift in the universe, even if you don't see it right away. It's all part of the grand web of life, and sometimes it's the smallest choice that makes the biggest impact. Have you ever had a moment when a small decision completely changed your life? I'd love to hear about it. Share in the comments below. It's amazing how the tiniest choices can lead to the most unexpected changes. The butterfly effect in history. History is often told as a series of grand moments, battles, revolutions, the rise and fall of empires. But in truth, the course of history is also shaped by small, seemingly insignificant events. These tiny decisions, moments, and accidents, often overlooked, can have profound, far-reaching consequences. The butterfly effect, with its roots in chaos theory, reveals how one small, random action can ripple through time, ultimately altering the trajectory of entire civilizations. One of the most famous examples of the butterfly effect in history is the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. On June 28, 1914, this event set off a chain reaction that escalated into World War I. The death of the Archduke was a direct result of the actions of Gavrilo Princip, a young nationalist. At the time, his actions seemed like a small, isolated event. But this assassination sparked a series of alliances, declarations of war, and political moves that ultimately led to a devastating global conflict. Imagine if Princip had missed his target, or he had been arrested before carrying out the attack. Would the assassination still have occurred under different circumstances? The fact is that the assassination, though tragic, set in motion the complex web of international relations that led to a war that claimed millions of lives and drastically reshaped the political landscape of Europe. The consequences of that single event are still felt today, in the form of geopolitical boundaries and global alliances. Another significant example of the butterfly effect is Christopher Columbus's discovery of the Americas. Columbus embarked on his famous journey in 1492, not in search of a new continent, but trying to find a more direct route to Asia. His small decision to set sail westward across the Atlantic ultimately led to the discovery of the New World by Europeans. Had he not been so persistent, or had Queen Isabella of Spain decided not to fund his expedition, the Americas may have remained hidden from European eyes for many more years. What would have happened if Columbus had turned back halfway through his journey, as many sailors had urged him to do? Would the Americas have remained undiscovered for centuries longer, changing the course of global exploration and trade? Columbus's discovery had massive consequences, not only for the Americas but for Europe as well. It led to the Age of Exploration, the colonization of the New World, and the eventual establishment of new empires. The ripple effects of Columbus's mistake can be felt in almost every aspect of modern society, from the economies of the Americas to the cultural exchanges between Europe and the New World. What seems like a simple decision to embark on a voyage changed the world in ways Columbus could never have imagined. The butterfly effect isn't just about explorers and political figures. Sometimes even personal decisions, those made by ordinary people, can dramatically impact history. A prime example is the seemingly small moment when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. Parks's simple act of defiance became a catalyst for the civil rights movement in the United States. Had Parks decided not to act, or if she had simply followed the rules like everyone else, it's possible that the momentum for change would have been delayed. But her quiet resistance to racial injustice ignited a nationwide movement that forever changed the social and political landscape of the country. Parks's refusal to give up her seat led to the Montgomery bus boycott, which in turn led to a Supreme Court ruling that declared segregated buses unconstitutional. This pivotal moment marked a significant turning point in the struggle for civil rights. Without that one small, individual decision, it's hard to say when or how the fight for equality would have progressed in the United States. It's a powerful reminder of how personal actions, whether intentional or not, can have far-reaching consequences. The butterfly effect in personal growth. Personal growth is a journey, a series of small decisions, actions, and changes that gradually shape who we are and who we are becoming. The butterfly effect shows us that, just like in history, the smallest changes in our habits, mindset, and environment can have an extraordinary impact on our lives. These tiny shifts can lead to profound personal transformation, often in ways we don't immediately recognize. One of the most powerful examples of the butterfly effect in personal growth is the impact of small, everyday habits. Think about something as simple as setting aside just 5 minutes every morning to meditate or reflect. At first, it may seem insignificant, just 5 minutes of stillness in an otherwise busy day. But over time, this small action compounds, helping to build mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve focus. The butterfly effect suggests that this small moment of peace can ripple through your day, improving your emotional resilience, relationships, and productivity. What started as a minor habit can eventually lead to significant changes in your overall well-being. Similarly, the books you choose to read, or the podcasts you listen to, might seem like a simple choice, but they can deeply influence your thinking and perspective. Reading one insightful book on psychology or philosophy could open your mind to new ways of thinking, challenge your beliefs, or offer fresh solutions to problems you face. In this sense, small decisions about what information you expose yourself to, whether it's through reading, watching documentaries, or even just conversations with others, can gradually shift your entire worldview. What once seemed like a casual interest or a random choice may have profound implications on your personal development. The butterfly effect also plays a crucial role in the relationships we cultivate. Perhaps one day you meet someone by chance at a coffee shop, through a mutual friend, or even in an online forum. At the time, the meeting may seem inconsequential, a brief moment in time. Yet, as these relationships develop, they can influence the trajectory of your life in ways you never expected. That chance meeting might lead to a mentor who guides you in your career, a friend who helps you through a tough time, or even a romantic partner who brings out the best in you. These seemingly small connections can change your entire outlook on life, leading to growth and opportunities that you never could have anticipated. Even the way you approach challenges can have a butterfly effect on your growth. Imagine you're facing a difficult task at work or school. Instead of giving up or procrastinating, you decide to tackle it head-on. This decision, small as it seems, can lead to a series of positive outcomes. Not only does completing the task give you a sense of achievement and boost your confidence, but it also reinforces a growth mindset. As you encounter more challenges and make a habit of tackling them with perseverance, you begin to build resilience and develop a strong sense of self-efficacy belief. As you encounter more challenges and make a habit of tackling them with perseverance, you begin to build resilience and develop a strong sense of self-efficacy, belief in your ability to succeed. This, in turn, can empower you to pursue bigger goals and make even more significant strides in your personal and professional life. It's also important to recognize that the butterfly effect in personal growth isn't always about positive changes. Sometimes small negative events or decisions can also lead to profound shifts. Maybe you make a mistake at work, and the consequences feel harsh at the time. Yet, this experience teaches you a valuable lesson, one that reshapes your approach to problem solving and decision making. In this way, even setbacks can set off a chain of events that ultimately lead to growth and self-improvement. The beauty of the butterfly effect in personal growth is that it emphasizes the power of incremental change. We often think that personal transformation requires drastic shifts, major life events, or bold decisions. But in reality, it's the small moments, the tiny choices we make every day, that accumulate over time and create lasting change. The butterfly effect reminds us that every decision, every action, no matter how small, is part of the larger process of personal evolution. And though we may not always see immediate results, those seemingly insignificant changes can eventually lead to remarkable transformation. As we reflect on this concept, it becomes clear that our lives are filled with moments of potential. Every choice we make, whether it's waking up earlier, learning something new, or making an effort to be kinder, has the potential to shape our future in profound ways. It's not the big dramatic moments that define us, but the small, consistent actions we take that accumulate into a path of growth and self-discovery. What small change have you made in your life that led to a bigger transformation? Share your experiences below. Sometimes the smallest shifts lead to the most significant growth. Embracing small changes for big results. We've explored how small actions and decisions can lead to significant outcomes in various aspects of our lives. Now, let's focus on how we can consciously embrace small changes in order to direct our lives toward bigger, more meaningful results. The butterfly effect teaches us that even the tiniest decisions made consistently can change the entire course of our future. It's about recognizing the power of these small changes and using them to our advantage. Start by thinking about the habits you want to cultivate. Big results often come from small, incremental improvements in our daily routine. For example, consider a goal like getting healthier. Instead of overwhelming yourself with the idea of a drastic fitness transformation, you can begin by adding just 10 minutes of exercise to your day. That's it, just 10 minutes. Over time, this small change can lead to increased energy, better health, and even a shift in your mindset about what's possible. This is how small steps compound over time, leading to results you might have never imagined. One area where small changes can have an incredible impact is in our mental and emotional health. Imagine setting a goal to be more mindful of your thoughts, to be more aware of when you're slipping into negative patterns. At first, it might feel challenging to notice these subtle shifts in your thinking, but the more you practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to catch negative thoughts before they spiral. By consciously replacing those thoughts with positive affirmations or more balanced perspectives, you're slowly reprogramming your mind. These small shifts, while they may seem insignificant in the moment, are the foundation for transforming your entire mindset. Even in our relationships, small changes can create big ripples. Sometimes we focus too much on making grand gestures or expecting immediate results. But what if the key to strengthening your relationships lies in the small, everyday interactions? A simple text to check on someone, a small compliment, or an intentional moment of listening can all contribute to deepening a connection. Over time, These seemingly insignificant actions build trust, foster closeness, and create lasting bonds. It's the cumulative effect of these small gestures that strengthens our relationships and brings about greater fulfillment. Another powerful way to embrace small changes is by setting micro goals. Large goals can often feel overwhelming, especially when we don't know where to start. By breaking down those big goals into smaller, more manageable tasks, we create a sense of progress and momentum. For instance, if you want to write a book, instead of focusing on the daunting task of writing an entire manuscript, focus on writing just 300 words a day. These small writing sessions add up quickly, and before you know it, you've written thousands of words. The sense of accomplishment and progress that comes from achieving these tiny steps is motivating and encourages us to keep going. Another example is adopting a growth mindset. The idea that we can improve over time, that we are capable of learning from failure, can lead to major shifts in how we approach life. Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, we start to see them as opportunities to grow, acknowledging that growth takes time and that even the smallest improvements matter, sets the stage for massive results in the long run. Sometimes, the key to embracing small changes is simply changing our perspective. If we approach life with the mindset that every small step we take is an investment in our future, we start to see the value in every little decision. Whether it's choosing to wake up 15 minutes earlier to start your day with a calm moment of reflection, or taking a few extra minutes to plan your tasks, these small efforts accumulate over time and lead to massive personal growth. The power of small changes is that they don't require grand gestures or major upheaval. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment to start. Instead, it's about finding ways to embrace small, consistent changes that add up over time. And while these changes may seem minor in the short term, they will ultimately lead to big results, transforming not just our habits but our lives. If you feel that embracing small changes is something that resonates with you, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Your journey to meaningful change starts with the smallest step.